Food hacks are simple kitchen tricks to maximize the benefit of food and help you get the most out of what you eat. So let's look at food as those different components, understand how we can combine them for best results as needed, because there's certain nutrients in food that are key. If I'm eating some kale technically is a good source of plant iron, but plant iron is not easily digestible. What do you need to unlock plant iron? You need vitamin C. So if I cut this up, cut it in half, sauteed it a little bit, maybe put some olive oil on there, squeeze, unlock the iron with the vitamin C, then I got more iron in my diet, but more iron that I could actually digest. But another tip that I have is, if you perform an audit, but you know that you're busy and you don't like to cook, keep vegetables around. If you keep vegetables around, if you order takeout, you can always order whatever, but then you could have vegetables there to supplement the meals. There's nothing worse than ordering out vegetables because they always come back kind of trash. They're overly priced, and you either get a struggle salad or you get overly cooked veggies that don't even taste good. So you want to make sure that part of performing your kitchen audit is not just removing foods, but also having foods there that will help push your results to the next level, and then still help you lead kind of a little bit of a normal life, but augment some of the negative effects that might happen if you have to eat fast food. Sometimes there's certain foods that oddly line up with what it does that they help, right? So walnuts, it looks like a brain. Walnuts are actually good for brain health. Beets, what does it look like? It looks like blood. Essentially, the beet juice has those components called nitrates, and it creates something, especially when it mixes with your mouth, a bacteria called nitric oxide, and it makes your blood just flow a little bit more efficiently. So when your heart beats, it doesn't have to work as hard. So then when you're running, and that's why now there's a whole industry around beet juice shots, when you're running, it typically can be a little bit easier. There's something called adaptogens, which typically are herbs that help the body cope with stress a little bit. Ashwagandha probably is one of the adaptogens many of us are familiar as it's kind of infiltrating the zeitgeist. You got cordyceps, you got mushrooms, you got reishi mushrooms, you got tulsi, which is a tea. Even peppermint is an adaptogen. An example actually is ginger. There are certain components within ginger that can make you better at be able to adapt to stress, or maybe even improve your digestion and things like that. Ginger has bioactive compounds that have been associated with immunity. I'm gonna call this my immunity digestion potion. Lemon, good source of vitamin C, and there's also, some nutrients in the lemon peel that might be beneficial. But it's great, so all you really do is kind of throw that in there. You can let it steep. This is something that you could drink probably 2-3 times a day in between meals. Really be great for that stomach. Throw a couple lemon peels in there, get some juice in there too. From there, that is your base. Then if you really want to get special, sometimes there's certain things that we can add for best results. Astragalus is interesting. Sometimes it can help boost our immune system. We don't want to necessarily boost, we just want to be proactive. So sometimes maybe you're feeling a little down and need a little bit of an extra kick. Astragalus helps boost white blood cells, it's been shown. So it's super easy. You could take this, take a little dropper, drop some in there, okay? And you just let that sit. So it's not one of those things where you're just asking you to splurge on some, fake vitamins. This is food. It's connected to actually having some benefit. You got to utilize it consistently. And it makes our body a little bit more stress resistant. Sometimes our immune system gets a little bit thrown off just simply because we're also very stressed. Then we start to eat pretty poorly. We're not working out. We're not sleeping well. It's a negative feedback loop. So that's really what it is. What you really want to understand for eating for health, eating for performance, these simple things that you can do, and also change the way you think about food. How will it impact my health? How will it impact my digestion? How will it impact my immunity? How will it impact possibly my performance, especially if you're an athlete out there? And then we'll cheers to that, because health truly is wealth. And honestly, you don't got to cost that much, man. Go to your local bodega, go to your local grocery store, boil up some water, and we're drinking good. A huge thing is hydrate. seriously, hydrate. We're not giving our body enough water throughout the day, whether it be in between meals, at first when we wake up. We have this slight status of dehydration, which can, of course, lead to some chronic systemic inflammation, confuse our hunger signals, make us a little bit more tired, make us a little bit more lethargic. Maybe we'll start to crave certain foods that aren't the best for us. So hydrate, all right? That'll be one of your key nutrition tips. And then I'll throw in another one, chew your food. This is a secret one, which a lot of people don't realize. Before you even change your diet, just chew your food and be grateful when you eat. That'll improve your digestion and you'll probably take in less calories if you need to cut back on calories, or it'll help your digestion because you'll get more out of the food. Digestion starts in the mouth. Half the time we eat too fast, which means we can't extrapolate the proper nutrition and nutrients. And then also we're eating more because we think we're hungry when we're really not. It takes a bit of time for your stomach to tell your brain that you're full. There's a lot of different ways you can process food. Again, when you cook, that's technically processing. When you chop a food, that's technically processing. You can saute it, you can steam it, you can grill it, and then of course you can bake it and things of that nature. But once you understand the cooking styles, you can also understand how that might have implications for the food. Research shows steaming and sauteing are the two best ways to cook your vegetables, especially when you keep the heat relatively low and the cook time relatively short. Vitamins and minerals often leach out, especially like B vitamins, vitamin C on high heat. When you saute too long or you use too much water in the cooking, so when you steam too long. Sauteing, you typically can add in a little bit of healthy oils like olive oil, so you can put that on there. Preparing vegetables in that way, whether you steam or saute, long story short, holds most of the nutritional components together. And you need less time to cook the food, so it retains most of its nutrients. Let's look at this. So we got broccoli. What I really want you to understand is, what is the difference between these two things? People would say that this is the same. They're both broccoli. I would then say to you, you're right, but you're also wrong. When you chop food sometimes, that changes the structure of foods. Food typically has, especially vegetables, have defense mechanisms because a lot of times vegetables, seeds, etc., don't want to actually be eaten. That's why sometimes you have to change it or augment it for best results. So, interesting research shows if I chop up broccoli, if I let it sit for about 90 minutes, it unlocks a compound in the broccoli called sulforaphane. What does sulforaphane do? Some research shows that it can help control your blood sugar and has anti-cancer properties. But when you chop it and then the broccoli reacts with air, that's when it starts to unlock this core component of the food. So chopping is processing food. When we talk about processing food, all that is preparation. And there's certain ways then you could process it for best results. So if you're just chilling, or you know you got stuff to do, maybe you got to hop on a call, or maybe you'll get a workout in between you chopping up the broccoli, you let it sit. You almost get 3 times the amount of that great compound, sulforaphane, in the food. So you could also do that for broccolini. You could chop it up, let it sit. It's very similar. If you're cooking this up, crush up some garlic, let it sit. When you let that garlic sit, it also releases more of its nutritional components. So again, you could pair that together. You got your garlic, you got your broccolini, you got a nice little olive oil saute. You're not cooking it too long or steaming it too long. So it's fascinating. I love that shit. Like, it's crazy to me. It's the fact that you can literally take a knife and you can chop some food up. And next thing you know, you change what the food really, the benefits that it has. The more we just understand how preparation changes things and how that impacts us, it makes life a lot easier. Because when I eat all this broccoli, I might as well get the most benefits out of it.